You're listening to the Coach's Journey Podcast.
All right, from free to fee. How are we taking our potential clients and moving them through the process to becoming a paid client? And maybe the bigger question is not are you moving them through the process, but do you actually have a process? It's probably where we need to start. And so maybe we can talk a little bit about what that process could look like and kind of lay the groundwork there first.
Yeah, we can do that. And that's the part, that's the model that we generally use in CMC. That's the model that we teach as well. It's fairly straightforward. And two prominent people that promoted that was Steve Chandler and Rich Lippin. And we've used that model to get our clients, and then we realized that it's actually very straightforward. Now, on top of that, we've added some marketing stuff and other things that you can do and make the process a little bit better. But the model is fairly straightforward. The model is basically this: connect with people, figure out where they're struggling, where they need help with, support with, offer them a coaching session around the challenges that they might have. And this is a discovery call, a coaching call, or a sales call. Serve them in that session. And at the end of it, you're simply asking, do you need more support like this? And if they say yes, you're making your offer. It's very straightforward. There are a few steps to it. But the bottom line is you're connecting with people and serving them. And that's your goal. And this simplifies the whole marketing process, but because all you need to do is if you can get on a call with enough people and you can just offer and take them through that journey, make your coaching offer, you've served them, then you should have clients. Now you can do this at a one-on-one level or group level or a mix of two. I do both of them. So that is the process. Now we'll go into the details of it, but it's pretty straightforward. Get on a call, or you meet somebody, you figure out what their challenges are, what they're going through, or what their dreams are, whatever they're working through. And you offer them specifically, do you need more support in that? Invite them to a call afterwards, serve them, and at the end, ask them, do you need more support like that? And then you can make your offer. That is the straightforward process.
I love that, Faisal. There's a couple of pieces of this that I think I want to mention. Like one, like it's amazing that you're the process person right now. So we've kind of switched roles. But like the thing I wanted to say, like this whole process needs to be infused with one thing, which is curiosity. And like sometimes we get stuck in our process. Like I need to sign a client, I need to make money. And we forget about being curious about the people in front of us. Like the way you find out if somebody could be a client is curiosity. The way you find out if somebody can be helped is curiosity. The way you help somebody is curiosity. And so if you're forgetting that part of the process, it's a really critical piece. And I love the process Faisal just said. That's the process I pretty much use. I get a referral and then I do a quick, check in with that person. Should we set up a call? Yes, we should. Okay, let's set up a call. And then we set up the call. And then sometimes it's one call, sometimes it's a couple calls. It depends. And then at some point I'll be making the offer. And sometimes they don't say yes right away. Sometimes it takes a while, but staying in touch with them and supporting them through the questions that they have. And basically one of the things that I said did add to Faisal is it's like, do you want to do more of this? I said, yeah. And sometimes there's questions like, what's it going to be like? I'm like, it'll be exactly like the thing we just did. Right. So, like you can't necessarily know exactly where the coaching will go every time, but you have a pretty good idea from experience. And if you don't have a lot of experience, you don't have to know. So like, this is a very customized journey for people. So like it's their coaching sessions and it's their program and it goes where it needs to go. And like, you can trust that it will go because curiosity. So.
Yeah, I love that. So as you guys are talking, what came to mind is one of the beliefs that I had around this process that I've realized I didn't know was an inaccurate belief until I started to do the process and until I started to get feedback and started to hear about how other coaches were doing it. And that belief was that, oh, well, if I meet with somebody for one time, they're going to know enough to be able to say yes. And if they say yes, great. If they say no, well, I guess they didn't want the coaching and I'll move on. And the belief is inaccurate because often what my experience has been, and maybe it's still because I'm getting better at my strategy session and still refining my ability to pinpoint the most impactful issue that they're dealing with. but it might take more than one session. And that doesn't mean that I'm a failure as a coach because I couldn't close them in a single session. Maybe they just need more support, or there's some circumstances in their life that are getting in their way of being able to commit. And they just need to know that you're there and you're still on their side and you're still supporting them for some time. And then in the future, when the time is right, if you're still connected with them and still, intent on serving them, then maybe that time is in the future. So that belief that this is one done, has really not served me. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, or what kind of beliefs you had when you were starting this, or that you realized you had to get rid of because they didn't really fit the reality of the sales process.
Yeah, I definitely had that belief. And sometimes that belief still shows up. Like sometimes it's, why did I not follow up with that person? Is it because I'm too busy, or is it because like I put it in the bucket of like, this person's not going to sign up so I can serve them and know that I helped them? And maybe there's still a little bit of that going on sometimes. And, for me, I don't have a huge roster of clientele, so I'm not doing a ton of marketing, but it doesn't mean that I can't continue to go to past clients. It's just reminding me right now, Sheri, that, I have all these past clients that I have not been that in touch with, but I should be. I would like to. And so it's really me to challenging myself to get a little more organized with making a habit of that.
Yeah. So there were actually quite a few beliefs in there. That was one of the ones that you mentioned was
Yeah.
what you said, Sheri, is that, I should be getting clients if I just talk to one. If I'm not, I suck. There's something wrong with me. Well, that's part of it. I'm building skill sets in the process. But a big part of it is actually a lot of people are not ready, to be honest. A lot of people might not be ready. And a lot of people don't know you enough or trust you enough, even though they might appear very nice and kind and everything. They just simply don't trust you. Yeah. I'm doing a lot of cold calls these days through a LinkedIn automation system. And it's just like, I haven't done a lot of that in the past. So it's very interesting to watch what happens. You're getting on a call with somebody you just talked to, and there is no other nurture other than the automation is sending it to them. We're chatting a little bit and they're getting on the call. And these are real estate investors. You can tell the tension as soon as they jump on the call. Like I have to really prepare and make this. And I can tell they don't even know who I am. So I don't expect them to jump on a call. Some of them might, but I don't expect them to be like, oh, let's go, let's do this, let's go. They won't even be open to get on a free call with me because they don't know who I am. I just appeared out of nowhere in their network. I'm just building a relationship with them. So a lot of what we do in the beginning stages of connecting is actually building a relationship. This is with people you have not connected with before. So keep that in mind. It takes a little bit of time to develop that trust. But I'm
not going to ask about that specific thing. I just want to, for our people watching, like, what are you doing? And I'm curious for what are you doing with them? So cold outreach on LinkedIn, you like, are you setting up like a 15-minute call with them? Like, what does that first actual interaction look like?
Well, the first interaction is in the chat in LinkedIn. Yeah. So I'm actually sending them some value. My course, I'll send them, and a lot of them won't even take advantage of it because even for that, they need to decide if it's worth their time. And I let them know, hey, I'm happy to connect you with anybody in my network. And then I offer to, I ask a bunch of questions around, hey, how long have you been in the real estate space? What are you working on? What do you specialize in? Just curious, like you said, curiosity. And at some point, as the conversation moves forward, they know it too because they're networkers. So he's like, why don't we just get on a call? Either they will say it or I will say it. And then we'll get on a 30-minute call and we're just sharing a little bit about each other. And within there, I will actually tell them about the purpose of the call. I'm like, really, the purpose is for me to see where I could support you and where we can collaborate together as well. And here's what I do. And then we go on about that. And for some people, it's very clear. For other people, it's not. But we refine, we learn as we go. And it's been very interesting for me. Now, in the past, I would have ran away from calls like that. Like now, for me, this is much more interesting now than the calls I'm used to, which are much more from a warm traffic, either through referrals or through one of the networks that I know very well or somewhere I have a lot of credibility in.
Can I observe a couple of things about what you just described? One is the curiosity, but also the patience, because you're not driving to a client, you're driving to a relationship, and you're building yourself a database of relationships, and you're becoming a super connector. And what that does for the people you're talking to, it makes you seem like a person who can connect them with people that they need. So you're not necessarily driving to client, you're driving to serve them because you want to make your network more valuable because you're in it, right? And so that's a big piece of what you're actually doing here. That's subtle. And I think for coaches, it's really hard to think about those long-term things when you're so focused on getting somebody as a client. And I think people can sense that really far away, that you're just trying to client them,
so. Trying to client them. That's another word for that is, I won't even say it.
Wow, Faisal does have a filter.
Sometimes I do. I don't want to go too deep into this because there's a lot more in here. So that and I love what Daniel said around this, that this has to be relationship focused, and there are multiple purposes behind that. One is, it's not just to get that person as a client, it's to connect with their network, to see if there are other people in there that you can serve, to see where they're struggling with, that you might even connect them with somebody else. It might not even be with, not everybody you're going to connect with, you're going to be able to serve. That was a very egotistic perspective I used to have, is that, oh, I can coach everybody. I can't. Like that's like I've
you can try.
I've painfully realized I cannot. It's like the evidence was in my face. I'm like, oh shit, I'm not capable of coaching this person at all. So I had to figure out, and that's why I have relationships with other coaches that I can connect them with, or refer them. And that's actually increased my credibility, because one, I can be humble enough to realize that, and two, I'm supporting them in whatever way that I can. And usually they connect me with somebody in the process. So that belief needs to be there. I love that you brought that up, Sheri, that this is a relationship business. This might take a little bit longer than you're used to. And there is a nurture cycle, which we can talk about. But there are a couple other things. This is the part that coaches don't think about at all. And I did a video yesterday around this, is that we're talking about a sales process, which means that money is involved. So regardless of whether you're thinking of it from a relationship standpoint or not, the probability of you getting clients is heavily dependent on your goal around this. And your goal needs to be connected to a bigger vision, but we'll leave the vision part out. You need to do a little bit of math. I know some people don't want to do math. Some people hate math. Some people really like math, but they don't do this math. And often when I get on a call with coaches, I ask them, like, okay, what do you want to create? Like, what are you trying to do? When they talk about their lifestyle, there's that lifestyle is only achievable through the resources that you have, like the money that you're going to create. And that's usually connected to the coaching business they want to create. One, recognizing what that is. Second, figuring out the goal around that. So for example, if you want to make 100K or 50K or whatever that is, that fits with that lifestyle and the growth you're creating, that needs to become a goal, which means that your offer needs to add up to that by the end of the year. If that's not there, you're not going to know how many people you need to serve in the process. So for example, right now, my goal, I have a tracking sheet around my clients that are there, and my lead tracking sheet, the goal is right on. I didn't used to have it there. I put it right on top, so it's a reminder every time I look at it. I literally have the numbers adding up to $1 million. This many clients I need for my biweekly, this many for monthly, this many in my group coaching program, for it to literally add up to that. That number tells me how many people I need to connect with, and a shitload of people I need to connect with. So if I don't have that number, this is what coaches do. They don't have that number. It's like, I just need to get clients. That doesn't mean anything.
I think it also can force us into that scarcity mentality, because if I think, oh, I need 5 clients in the next 2 months, then, or maybe even then in the next month, then every person I talk to, my voice is dripping with desperation, because I think I need this person to convert, because I'm like, I need, so then we get all like crazy, but if we recognize that, oh, well, maybe maybe we don't know what our conversion rate is in conversations to clients. If you're not really sure what that is, ballpark it and conservatively. So maybe it takes you 20 people, 20, or let's say 20, if we're really bad at strategy sessions, maybe it takes you 20 strategy sessions to convert one client. Well, geez, that means you need 100 strategy sessions. You better get work on the strategy sessions.
I think my first client took me that long, Sheri.
So if you focus on, there's lead measures and lag measures. So lead measure is what happens before the goal. And so if the number of strategy sessions is what you want to focus on, which might be appropriate, then focus on getting 100. Don't focus on the 5, focus on the 100. The 100 is based on the 5. but then there's a little I think there's less of that desperation that enters in.
You're listening to the Coach's Journey podcast.